Joshua cemented his status as a sporting icon in his native land by attracting 78,000 fans to watch him fight an unheralded mandatory challenger for his IBF belt. Where AJ goes, people follow, and on Saturday it was to the Welsh capital Cardiff, where Joshua ground down Carlos Takam to force a 10th-round stoppage. Since becoming heavyweight champion in April 2016, Joshua has fought at 4 different British venues: London's O2 Arena 16,000 fans, Manchester Arena 21,000 fans, London's Wembley Stadium 90,000 fans, and Cardiff's Principality Stadium 78,000 fans, and filled out each one. Veteran ESPN boxing writer Dan Raphael says it's proof Joshua has become the #1 crowd puller in combat sports. Incredible looking crowd. Another sold-out stadium of about 75,000. No other fighter on earth can draw that, Raphael tweeted. It's one thing for Anthony Joshua to draw 90,000 for a fight with Klitschko. That is a historical mega fight. He has drawn close to 80,000 for a mandatory fight against a guy almost nobody has heard of and who took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. That is star power. Incredible looking crowd for Joshua Takam. Another sold-out stadium of about 75,000. No other fighter on earth can draw that. Dan Raphael at Dan Raphael ESPN. October 28, 2017. Crowd pops as Anthony Joshua begins the long walk to the ring. Theatrical entrance with fire. This guy is the star of stars. Brian Campbell at B Camp Boobs. October 28, 2017. Anthony Joshua put 75,000 Welsh asses in the seats. This man is a star. Boxing. Jonathan Snowden at Jess Snowden. October 28, 2017. We want to own the division. Joshua is now 200 all by knockout, owns the WBA and IBF belts, and is resetting his targets as he heads into 2018. We were at a learning level when we first started, Joshua, who turned pro in 2012 after winning gold at the London Olympics, said in the bowels of the Principality Stadium early Sunday. Then we went British level, a bit tougher, all about reputation and pride, and then we entered into the world level. Now, we are at the level where we want to own the division. In my mind, I'm just focusing on keeping my belts and getting better from here and winning, Joshua added. It's not about the 21st fight or the 22nd fight, it's about 15 fights from here, 10 years, 15 years, you know. I'm not just worried about my next 3 fights, I've just got to plan the long-term strategy with Rob and Eddie, and that likely means growing his brand, a term used by Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, by fighting abroad, most likely in the United States. Anthony Joshua Wright celebrates victory over Carlos Takam. Nick Potts via app. Source app. Joshua's epic victory over Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley in April rocketed him into boxing's global consciousness, with 2 U.S. television networks broadcasting the fight. His style of boxing, spectacular, explosive, is proving a big pull and should win over U.S. audiences when he eventually crosses the Atlantic to fight there for the first time. Expect that to happen next year. At the moment, here, Hearn said, when asked where the money is in heavyweight boxing. But if you get it right, then in America. I think we need a clear plan moving forward. Every show is iconic with Anthony. There are images and footage that go to people all around the world. I don't think it's really been done before. To go to another country, and maybe into a 3,000 or 4,000-seater arena, just for a bit more money. AJ has always wanted to put on shows. There isn't a show like an AJ show in world boxing, and we don't really want to walk away from that. Joshua has said repeatedly that the UK scene is where heavyweight boxing is really thriving, with fellow Brit Tyson Fury having initially shaken up the division by beating Klitschko in November 2015 to win the WBA, IBF and WBO titles. In British heavyweight boxing, it's hard to get that respect, the 28-year-old Joshua said. There was always USA, and now we have fighters wanting to come here and fight. That's nice. I do like that. Yet he also knows, long-term, he has to crack America. Actor Colin Farrell watched from ringside on Sunday. Photo by Richard Heathcote. Getty Images. Source Getty Image. Swo is next. Wilder, Parker O'Arfery having dealt with the awkward challenge of Takam, a squat, durable fighter from France who took Joshua to the second longest bout of his professional career. The champion has a vague plan for 2018 that could involve 3 fights. Fulfill his obligations by taking on a mandatory for his WBA belt. I'm focusing on keeping my belts by any means, Joshua said, potentially in April, and then a unification fight in the summer against either WBO champion Joseph Parker or WBC champion Deontay Wilder. Parker, a New Zealander who lives in Las Vegas, is more likely to be the first one up for Joshua. I think it will be a bigger fight with Wilder down the road than it is now, Joshua's trainer, Robert McCracken, said. Joshua, sitting beside McCracken, nodded in agreement. London is Joshua's home, but Hearn says Cardiff could be Joshua's winter home, and there is no shortage of other venues that would be keen to play host to the biggest boxing show in town. Joshua is taking it all in his stride, accepting the pressure of a nation and thriving on it. He says he is maturing as a fighter, using his jab more to get control and using the early rounds to work out his opponents rather than going flat out from the opening bell. That's what he did against Takam. He'll learn from this, he'll move on, grow stronger, get a bit smarter, McCracken said. And at the end of the journey, hopefully he'll be the full package. Anthony Joshua prepares to throw a right hand. Nick Potts via AppSource. Hearn said he wants to see his fighter take on controversial former world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury in an all-British showdown next year. Fury is still waiting for a final ruling from UK anti-doping on a suspended drugs ban after the hearing was adjourned in July. I think the Wilder fight is potentially one of the biggest in world boxing, and I think that fight is realistically going to happen in the summer of 2018, Hearn told BBC Radio. But Tyson Fury is a guy who we'd love to see come into the sport. Whether that'll happen or not is another issue. The problem for him is to overcome the governing body and UK anti-doping. I think he will come back. I think at some point he will wake up one morning and think, I've got to get myself together here and go challenge in these big fights. If he does, with 1 or 2 fights, then I'd love to see the Anthony Joshua fight, and I'd like to see it in 2018. Fury, whose license was suspended by the British Boxing Board of Control last October, has not fought since beating Vladimir Klitschko to win the IBF, WBA and WBO titles in November 2015, with AFP.